Just like we had requirements for a strong thesis, we also have requirements for strong evidence. The first one is that all evidence must be relevant to the thesis. Again, the thesis is our major claim. It's what we're trying to support. So every piece of evidence must be relevant to that thesis. If not, we get into fallacies, which we'll cover later in the semester. But for right now, just know that if you have a piece of evidence, it should be relevant. Now, again, the way that we can check this is to write our thesis on a 3x5 card, go paragraph to paragraph, evaluating what is my thesis, what is this evidence, are they related? The next one is it must fully support all claims being made. So again, we talked about the thesis and how we had the one thesis that said everyone wants a better life. We have to make sure that that is supported. So we can't just disregard certain parts of the thesis or parts of our topic sentences. When we make a claim, that claim needs to be fully supported. The evidence needs to contain either facts or real-world examples. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're getting down to that truth that we talked about before. We want to get down to the factual parts of that evidence in order to not try to support claims with further claims. And then the evidence can't be based on some scenario in which the writer controls all the variables. So we can't start by saying, imagine this or imagine that. That's not going to be good evidence because it's not real world. So we go back to that real world aspect. We could say, what would you do if, but that's a scenario in which we control all those variables. Instead, let's look at a real world situation where somebody was put into exactly what we're imagining and see what they did or see how they handled it. We want to be real world. If we're not real world, then it really doesn't hold any water. So we don't want to use that evidence. Then evidence needs to be cited to add credibility and avoid plagiarism. Okay, so we know that if we bring in evidence from another source, we need to cite it so that we're not plagiarizing, but it will also help build credibility. If I'm giving a quote from a doctor, maybe an expert in the field, these are going to give credibility to my argument where I might lack the experience or knowledge. So I'm going to rely on somebody else's experience and knowledge and give that credibility to them.